What?
I have no idea. I don't know. Well, I was watching you like in that little space where I'm just a blank screen, and I was just like
Oh,
watching your face. Just
I'm still in my feels.
like yeah, yeah. That was a Robin is an amazing soul. Our listeners will know firsthand.
I know.
Once they listen to our podcast with her, she's great.
She's like just one of those people, like, and you're just like, wow. Like, it's why the word like found family, the words found family, I think exist. Like, there's just some people, and you're like, man, if we had friends like that as kids, it would be like life changing, you know? People who
Oh
have
man.
got you like you've or maybe we wouldn't none of us would have been mature back then enough to deal with it. Sorry,
No, yeah.
Goose is so inappropriate. She's brought me a toy and she's rubbing it against my leg and squeaking it. Just 1 second. No, that's not this. I don't even know where she got it from. Some little thing and toy.
Goose is such a ham. When Goose wants something, Goose gets it. He is a woman after my own heart.
Just if I don't put
Um,
it away, she's just gonna keep bringing it, and it's got a little squeaker in it, which I don't know if the audio with. I have to say, though, Zoom does a good job not picking up the background noise.
yeah, no, I didn't even hear it at all.
Oh, that's wild because she was right here squeaking on my leg. Now she's gone and had a tantrum and thrown herself at the bottom. I'm just like, she's such a
Oh
diva.
my
She just
God.
was like, and threw herself at the foot of the couch.
What a ham. She is a diva. She is a diva. How old is Goose?
She's gonna be 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's going into the grandma years slowly, which is wild to think.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
old's
it's always
Smokey?
funny. Yeah, he's probably, we can't remember, but we think 11 or 12.
Mm,
And we're always joking, because they're your dogs. So
yeah.
like but we're always like, that's like there's an old man like sitting right there in my chair. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's like
True.
that dog is like he's a man. Like he's a grandpa
And
right now. And we're over
sometimes
here teasing him.
and sometimes they do like really human things. Like this morning, even I was getting dressed and like you can just feel something watching you. Do you know what I mean? And you turn around and there's like someone there. And I turn around and Goose was just sitting in the middle of the lounge room, just like annoyed. I haven't taken her out yet, but she's just sitting like an old man, literally like sploot like sitting but splooted with her hands, and she was just like just staring like, "Come on, mate. Like when are you gonna take me out?"
I think I saw that female dogs in particular do judge their owners. Like they are judgy. And it makes
I'm not
sense. Yeah.
surprised. I'm not surprised because I get that judgment all the time. But
Sassy
welcome.
little queen. Yes, welcome everybody. It always reminds like when we first started, Goose was our promo queen. Like she was dressed to the nines. You had her, and she looked pissed in every single picture you took.
She was so unhappy with me. Like, if you were a fly on the wall for some of those photo shoots, you would have peed your pants. Like, she was never happy with me. But she suffered through outfit change after outfit. I'm also like, where did I think I was going? Like, buying her a whole new wardrobe to promote every new episode.
I know. And full on outfits like Beast, right? From
Yeah,
Beauty and the Beast.
yeah,
You had
yeah.
her like all hammed out. Yeah. So yeah, that was a pricey promo. We had started there.
Absolutely. And you know what? It wasn't even getting the hits you'd want. It's just like, I think
Yeah.
I don't know. Somehow it just people didn't connect French bulldog dressed as Maleficent with a writing podcast. I just can't understand why.
It makes no sense to me because
Yeah.
I thought this is great. Yes. Well, people, I think you were just ahead of the times, is what it was,
Literally.
Yeah, you were too far ahead. Welcome everybody to Of the Publishing Persuasion. I'm Angela Montoya, and I am here with Melanie Schubert in her beautiful hair. I'm trying to think of what color. What color do we call this?
We
I'm a
call this
writer. I should come up with something, but
like
this feels
violent.
very like violent. Is that what you said?
Violent teal or something.
Oh, yes. I was gonna say like very tropical beach.
Oh yeah, it's giving beachy vibes.
Yeah, like we're on a tropical oasis,
Because it's
It's
so
nothing but like
fair.
sea green.
I
Yes.
said to my hairdresser Corey, I was like so thrilled with the. I actually just love how he's done it this time. He's done like a bit of shaved. My mullet's a bit longer. And I just said to him, I was like, I never thought with this round face that I would ever like look like a badass. Like, I was like, I think you finally made me look like someone that like she might look like she's gonna steal something. You know what I mean?
No, you definitely look like you're about to steal something. If you're
Right?
walking around, if I see you and you've got your Doc Martens on and you've got your like, your fishnet goodies and your like punk rock outfit, I'd be like, she is literally just send her to jail right now. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. I mean, look, the face is still very round, so I think realistically when I see a photo of myself, I'm like, no, she's still probably, but I feel the baddest I've ever felt? So it's a good start.
Yes, you should. And let me tell you why, Melanie Schubert. Let me tell you why, okay? Because no, I stop laughing. I have to tell you something. Stop laughing. I have something to tell you, Melanie, okay? This is serious. Melanie Schubert,
Mm.
I have to tell you that I started reading your book, Beyond, it's called Beyond Love, right?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
we're pitching as Beyond Love.
yes.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh,
I
I'm gonna get
started
shy.
I started reading it. Oh, well, I'm listening to it. And that's the only
Yeah.
way I survive on books right now. I just put it in the app and I put it in my Aussie accent.
Did
And
you?
yes, and she does a really great job in the
I
app.
love that.
And so I'm probably, I don't know how far I got into it. Maybe like 20% in or
Oh,
so.
that's legit.
Yeah, I couldn't stop. It's
Aw.
so good. It's so good. It was good when I first read it, but the changes you've made and there's subtle changes too, but subtle and then big, but the changes you've made have made it feel so much more rich and and like oh gosh, it's so good. It's so good. Like you have grown
I wasn't
so
ready.
much. You weren't ready. I was trying to tell you. I was trying to tell you. I was trying to prepare you. But it is so, so, so good. And like the little letters from Emmett and just all of the things, you killed it. I can't wait to finish it because it's so, so good. So clappies,
Oh my
bow,
gosh.
all of it. It is delicious. You killed it.
Oh my God. Well, that's everything. We better end the episode now. Um,
Stop right
I
there.
don't know
Yeah,
what to
no.
say after that. I'm emotional. I'm in my feels.
Yeah, no, I was feeling emotional listening to it because I was just like, oh my God, she has stepped her game up. And like the first scene, because I want to say when I first read it, it started out in a restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
different guy. She was
but
on a date with
but
a
diff
different guy.
yes, and the way you switched it feels so much better and it feels right and it feels subtle where it's like this dramatic
Mm.
thing. It's the thing that really and truly sets up the entire premise and what she's missing. It's
Oh
spot
my
on.
God.
Brava. Hmm.
That is
You
everything
did it.
to me, my friend. Um, as you know, I agonized over that new intro almost killed me because it's the hardest thing to sacrifice. Like, your first pages are generally the ones you've worked the hardest on. They're the most polished. They might have got you the agent request in this case, like, and making the choice to change that intro to like I mean, yeah, they're still in a cafe, I mean, in a restaurant, but it is a whole new scene. And it has the nuance of it is complete. The theme, I changed the theme, which was like a
Yeah.
real choice. And I was bricking it when I did it because I was like, what if I do this and like it's worse? And then now I've already committed to changing all these threads and like it didn't, I already knew I couldn't leave the old intro, right? But the old intro is what got me an agent. And so like actually changing it to this for a long time, I was like, like, was it the right choice? Was it the right choice? And it wasn't until like the final edit where I like also like read it as a book and once I added Emmet's letters, like that shifted things for me too, because without that lead in, it didn't feel it just changed the whole tone for me, starting with the letter from Emmet. But hearing that from one of my best friends and favorite authors is like it's water to this parched desert. So so thank you. I
No, no. You deserve all the praise. Truly. You killed it. You did
mm,
so, so good. So I'm excited to read on and to see all the different changes too. Yeah, it really and truly set the tone for the whole story, and I could see how that would change so much.
mm,
But yes, you did it. You did the thing, and everything feels very like lived in, if that
mm.
makes sense. Like it feels like the world really is complete.
Oh my
And
God,
even
that's
her
everything.
friendship, no, you did, you killed it. Like even her friendship, I can't remember the character's name,
Aran.
but yes, their friendship feels so honest and real. And the way that she gets the app and you did it.
Well, I have to like really shout out Sandra, my agent, because like her feedback, man, like working with someone who like has the business eye and also wants the best for your work and also sees the heart of your story. Like, yeah, like sometimes I would get a note and like it's never, I don't know what it's like on your end, but for me, when so far, when I get an agent note, it's never, you have to change this. Or like it's never, or like rarely, like, but it would be for something small, but it would be like, how could we strengthen this? Or what about this idea? But the way she asks those questions very specifically makes you start to think in a line of thinking that has resulted in this. Because I wouldn't
Mm.
have, it would have taken me 100 edits to do what like she has like kind of guided me to do through through her line of questioning. It's almost like what a therapist does. They get you to like realize something about your story, but they understand that it's your story, so it's going to look different to everyone else's. So like yeah, having somebody to guide you through that process is just wild. And I'm so, so fucking happy to hear on the other end that that's how it feels as well. Because you know what it's like when you're in it for too long, you're like, is it even that good? Like, have I really? You just have moments where you're like, have I? And then you have other moments where you're like, I definitely have. But then it's just hard to know when you're in like on an island, right?
Yes. No, it's so freaking hard. It's very weird because you're
Mm,
so into the story and you know every single thread, you know where it's going. And
yeah.
so even when you're like editing or revising and you've read it, and like the first even draft, you were like, "Oh, this is so good." But by the like the third and fourth and fifth one, you're like, "Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is so predictable." But it's because you know every single thing about it. And so like always getting like every single time I do a revision, I always am like trying to like ask people, "Can you read this?" Because
Mm,
our eyes are like blurred to like the beauty of the story and all these little notes that we thought were great when we first put it in, but
mm,
after this fifth read through, it kind of isn't that cool anymore.
yeah.
So it's like I'm always like, anytime, please somebody read this. Like, tell me it's good. Tell me it's
Yeah.
good.
It does change it in like hearing it from people that you respect and value. Because, yeah, I think you're right. Maybe it's just impossible. It's almost like even if like pizza is your favorite thing to eat, but like if you eat it for every meal, you're like, don't show me another slice. I guess it's just the same with writing. Like even though we think that we can see, I don't know, we think we can somehow stay in tune with it all. And I think we make the mistake of gaslighting ourselves and being like, if it was that, I think maybe there's this voice that says, if it was that good, I should still love it, this 20 millionth read through or something. Or like,
Yes.
what if it was like not a great idea to start with? And what if I was wrong about that initial flame that like set me on fire for this book? Or what if I lost the flame along the way and I just can't see it? But like I think you're right. I think it's just like the multiple revisions just it just wears that feeling down, even if it's like the best thing you've ever written. If you read it 100 million times, like it doesn't feel
Yeah.
that way or something.
Yeah. No, 100 billion%.
Yeah.
And I and I think every single time you're reading your stuff, you're reading it with a critical eye through a critical
Mm,
lens. And so you're never really just enjoying it for what it is because your brain's like, "Oh, that sentence could be tweaked. Oh,
mm,
that could be changed. That should be added." So you're never really just like sitting back and just
mm.
listening to your story because you're like, "Nope. Mm-mm." Your brain is automatically like, "Nope, it's got to be better. It's got to be better. How can we do it?" And
Yeah.
at a certain point you got to stop.
That's it, eh? You've got to like switch off that part of you, but like I think it can be so hard. It can be so hard.
Yeah.
And that's why we
Oh my
need
gosh,
our
yes.
community to to tell us that we're doing okay.
Yes, yes. And to believe it, because sometimes you'll hear someone say it's great, and you're like, is it? But I am here to tell you, Melanie Schubert, this is fabulous. You did the damn thing. I'm so excited for you. I feel very great. I'm very happy about this. I can't
Mm,
wait to finish it, honestly. I'm gonna have to do more chores around the house so I
yeah.
can listen and finish. Yeah.
That felt like a very big magic manifestation. And like to be honest, I try not to think about it too hard that it's on sub right now. And like, but it hasn't even been a month yet, I realized. And I was like, oh, that's all right. Like that, I'm okay with that, you know? Like it doesn't feel like it's been out that long. And it feels like we just had a very powerful manifestation moment. And
Mhm.
yeah,
We're
you've got to
manifesting.
go into it like that, like feeling like I still do feel like it's the best thing I've written. And that confirmation from you of like, yeah, like you want to keep reading, like it's exciting. I'm just like, hopefully the right person on the other end picks it up and feels the same. So yeah. But thank you for putting all
Yes,
those
please.
beautiful vibes into the world for me because yeah, it's it's very appreciated. I do, in
Yeah.
spite of like, seeming like this, balanced together thing, I do have my moments of crisis as
That's
well.
valid. That is so valid. It's so valid. I mean, being on sub is it's a weird experience. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how you're feeling, but like when I was on sub, and I'm sure I'll be on sub again soon
Yeah.
enough, but like it is a very weird feeling compared to being to querying.
Mm.
Because like querying is like, okay, I need to get here,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna try and get to here. But sub is that not final tier, but that's the big tier where you're just like,
Mm.
okay, here it is. Like show me the money, baby. Like somebody please, And so
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like mental gymnastics while you're on sub.
Literally. Literally. I feel like at this point I feel confident that like something's gonna happen with this story. It feels too it wants to be read or something. Do you know what I mean? Like
It
I
does.
I feel confident that one way or another this story is going to be out in the world. That it's like
Oh
worth
yeah.
worth the effort to like go further with it, whatever that means, but
Yes.
we'll
I
see.
will I will start a publishing house myself and
Literally.
make it like
Yeah.
we're at the point in our writing careers
Mm.
where we're we're not just writing stories, like we're writing books, if that
That's it,
makes sense.
eh? No, it makes so much sense. Like, I know it's good now. Like having that confirmation from you is just like the final, like, I needed that as well, because I've been alone with it. But like, in my, if I'm honest in my heart, I do reach a point with a story like that. I'm like, it's good. It could be on the shelf. Like, and and yeah, so like with that, you feel like, well, shit, like just because some editor might not think it's the right time, it doesn't mean this story isn't amazing. It doesn't mean it's not another incredible Angela Montoya that your existing fans and new fans will want to find and read. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
I think that's what's going to be so fun about Jingle These Bells,
Yes.
our holiday anthology, because I think this will give us a little taste of what we can do.
That's it. We're both, I think, like kind of business minded in that we're like mentally always preparing for other possibilities. So it's like
Yeah.
obviously we're manifesting like, a major book deal with a great pub house. But at the same time, we just know publishing is unpredictable and we've seen it with like our very talented friends. So
Period. Exactly. There's
yeah.
always options. And that's what I love for
Yeah.
us is that one book might sell and it's going to take off. Another one, you're like, you know what? This actually might just be better in the indie
Yeah.
space, anyways. And so you have these options now, and I love it. I think
And
it's
we've been
fun.
so bloody consistent with the podcast. Like, I just want to give us a little moment here to celebrate ourselves because, and it's no shade on other people. Like, it's a lot of work. I don't blame people for like not doing a podcast. But one thing I'll say is, engagement on Instagram and whatever, it's so unpredictable. And like right now, it seems to be quite low, right? But I'm noticing the opposite with the podcast. I'm noticing our numbers are starting to lift again. And I was just like, that's interesting. That's
Yeah, yeah,
interesting and noteworthy. And we've been so bloody consistent, showing up for work every week. And, that wouldn't hurt if we wanted to indie pub some stuff.
yeah. I love this for us, and I love this for
Yeah.
our readers, our listeners, that we can offer some of them space to publish things too. I think it's just really fun, and
You
I
want
know
to
you've
talk
been.
more about that?
Yeah,
I
hell
can't
yeah.
remember what we said in Camilla's episode, but let's just try to rehash in a more collected, cohesive way.
Yeah, we said like everything and nothing
Oh
all
my
at
God.
once.
I'm editing it today. I haven't started, but after this, I was going to edit it, and I am dreading it because I know we were like chaos to the umpth degree.
100%. We didn't come in with a plan. We just started mumbling words and I don't even know what we said about it. But yes.
I'm hoping by some miracle it's okay when I get to it. I'm like, oh, that was fine. But in my mind, it was carnage.
It was. I think it was, yeah. But yes, we soft launched
Yeah.
on our previous episode, but here we are. We're hard launching. Very hard.
Yes.
Hard launching, baby. That we're putting together a holiday anthology called Jingle These Bells. And we are really, really excited. We have some of our author friends that are going to be joining us, and we're opening it up to our listeners too, who, if they want to maybe submit a little piece for the anthology, um, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make this little slutty little anthology.
I'm so excited. Yes, dear listeners, you heard it here. Second, because we already mentioned it last episode. Third, because we put it on social media already. But here we are again, clarifying our holiday message that yes, we are indeed releasing a slutty anthology with the theme Jingle These Bells. And yes, we would love to hear from you. So if you think you have a spicy Christmas jingle bell themed story that like you've just been waiting to unfold inside of you, we want to hear from you. We're going to open officially to submissions next month? No, yeah, March.
Yeah, yeah. So you have time to prepare. I think we were looking for between 3 and 8K
Mm-hmm.
for the submission. That is
Yeah.
words. 3,000 to 8,000 words.
What?
And yeah, so anything holiday themed, but the main, you have to at least have the word jingle bell in there or have some sort of jingle bells in your submission. That is the criteria.
I'm just
That's
cackling
it.
because what else would you have meant by 3 to 8K? Like 3 to 8K jingling bells?
Hey, I wanted to clarify
No,
so
no,
we know
I
we're on the same
appreciated
page.
it. But no, I'm so excited. As you know, I have charged ahead in my sleigh of bells, and I'm having so much fun writing this. It unexpectedly like has gone and hit some deep themes, which came out of nowhere. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a ho ho holiday fiesta. I don't know.
I am excited. I am so excited to see what Melanie comes up with on. I mean, I have some clues. I have some hints, but I am excited.
Yes. It
Yes,
is.
I
I
am
will
cracking up.
share the name of my piece titled Christmas Diddle for Catherine. Now,
Of course, that's what it's titled. It
yeah,
would, you can't. That's perfect.
it is
I mean,
perfect. And I've gone a slightly when I'm finished, I'll send it to you. But I've gone a slightly different direction than I expected, but I'm very pleased with it. And Catherine will
oh.
be pleased.
Catherine will
Have
be
you?
thanking you.
Yeah, she is thanking me. Um, do we have a title for yours yet?
Nope, we do not.
We do
We
not.
have nothing. We
She's
have
been busy
thoughts.
though.
Yes, yes. Yes, we have thoughts. Yeah,
Anything you want to share with the class?
I definitely want to do an abominable snow monster
Yeah,
romance.
yeah.
I want it to be think um Beauty and the Beast when Belle runs, from the castle and Beast saves her from the wolves. That's what I'm going for here. That's what I'm
Slay.
going.
I
Slay.
am. That was when you said like you haven't started, but that is like a really solid pitch. I would buy that shit immediately.
Yeah, it's all here. It's in my head. I think I got it. So
Yeah,
I
but
yeah, I'm excited for it.
you've been hustling on other things. Is that something you want to share on the pod or not yet?
I don't think yet
Not
because
yet.
I'm waiting. Well, so yeah, I'm gonna be part of an anthology, and it's like and I think I mentioned it, like a cozy romance, young adult anthology. I don't know if I even mentioned it here, but anyways, so I'm part of an
Huh. I don't
anthology.
even remember when you
Oh,
were saying you were working on it. I was like, wait, do I remember this?
oh,
I was
okay.
like, have we celebrated?
Surprise.
Woo!
Yes, but it hasn't been announced, and
Mm.
I honestly was waiting to sign paperwork
Uh,
because my agent, Larissa, she has moved agencies.
woo.
So today actually was her first day at a Xantian literary agency. So I am
Nice.
now agented by Larissa under Xantian, which some of our very dearest friends are
Mm.
now my agency siblings. So that's really fun. So now that she's there, then we can start maybe getting the ball rolling. And
Gotcha.
because she doesn't know any of this. So I have to tell her and send her stuff. And yeah.
Gotcha. And what about you've got all these events coming up on the weekend as well.
Oh my gosh, I do. Yeah. So I leave Friday. I'm going to Georgia and I'll be there with a bunch of our friends. Jessica Parr is going to be there, Jill too, Jenny Howe, a bunch of our pub persuasion. Claire, I think Claire Osanko is going to be there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, freaking Tobias Madden, one of our OGs. So a bunch of our previous guests are going to be there. We're just going to be partying on.
Oh
We're
my
going to be
gosh.
going crazy.
That sounds
Yes,
like it's going to be lit. It's going to
it
be the
better
bookish
be.
event of the century.
Yes, it is. I am really, really excited. Like my on Sunday one of the my first panels at 9 in the morning,
Ooh.
but 9 a.m. there is
Mm.
my 6 a.m. So it's gonna
Oh.
feel very early. It's gonna and it's like a where you have to be on. It's like a truth or dare, like battle royale kind of event.
Yeah.
So I'll be having my coffee. I'll be
Yeah,
ready.
damn. That's
Yes.
like that's rough. 6 a.m. mentally as a start time. Is it a long day or you'll be able to like escape for a rest in between?
It's honestly um not ter like it's I like how it's set up. So I think I do an event and then I have like an hour break and then
Mm,
another thing an hour. So I have three things total per day. But they're like short chunks.
that's
They're just
good.
like an hour max per
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And then I'm done. I think it's the last thing is like at 4. So
Oh
it's like
yeah.
a very manageable day for a gal like me. It's like
Mm,
pretty perfect. Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes. So
Yes,
I'm
I'm so
excited.
excited for you. Give that para
Yes.
mamager a big hug from me.
I I will. I will. Yeah, that'll be fun. I'll try to remember to take as many pictures as possible.
Yes. She's so cute. When she was here in Aussie, she was like, I feel like Thanos. She's like collecting all all of my, she's like, I've hugged Monty, I'd hugged Core, and now I just needed to hug you, and I've collected them all. That's so cute.
It is.
Oh my God, we've only got 4 minutes left, and I so badly wanted to tell you about that documentary, but let's read Robin's bio first.
I've got mine.
Okay, off you go.
All right.
If you don't mind.
I got it. I got it. Robin Alvarez is the author of the number one new release YA ethnic fairy tale When Oceans Rise. Strong female characters, mythological creatures, and a mixed race perspective are staples of her work. While she spent the majority of her life in beach towns, having almost drowned several times, she
Hmm.
currently resides in a desert where the waters are less likely to kill her. Robin's work has been featured on Al Crate, ABC, NBC, and CBS News affiliates.
Yeah, she's a baddie.
She's bad.
She's a baddie. I'm so honored to be able to work with her. And yeah, I cannot wait to share this episode with listeners because it's a really powerful one, I think.
Yes. Okay. Now to segue into something you were telling me in the DMs. Go ahead,
Just
Mel.
tantalizing you with this. So the series is called Apple Cider Vinegar. It's a limited Australian series, but it's actually based off this chick in like I think she was actually Melburnian, like she's Aussie, and she faked having a brain tumor to become famous. She got like a massive book deal with Penguin and everything. Like she was like this sensation because she claimed she had cured her brain tumor through like natural whole eating. So they released her book, I think it was The Whole Pantry, maybe, I want to say. And so that was like all these recipes that she said was like healing her brain tumor. But she never had a tumor. It was all like a elaborate lie to
Oh my
just
God.
like become famous over, and she just kept feeding into it. So this series is like based on that. It's so you have to watch it when you want something a bit more like psychological. It's
Yes. No, I
wild.
did hear about it. I
You
just
did.
heard about it on TikTok because
Yeah.
when you said apple cider, what was it? Apple
Apple
cider
cider
vinegar?
vinegar is the name of the thingo.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I someone was talking about it and I thought, oh, like apple cider vinegar, but
It's
it was
actually
this
yeah.
woman.
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
wild. It's just wild. I think it's an actual like it's got Munchausen, I want to say, syndrome where people
Mm.
fake an illness for, but it's like the extreme of that where somebody's like, did you ever watch Inventing Anna?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's that vibe, but darker, like so much darker because you're dealing with terminal illness, and so many people were like affected by it because all these like innocents bought into it and were like trying to heal themselves through her shit. And probably, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I'm assuming there was a lot of
Oh,
nastiness. So yeah, watch that. It's gonna cut us off any second. So I want to rant so much, but maybe we'll watch it together and rant more.
yes, I'm ready, honestly. What's it on?
On
Just any.
Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it.
watch it.
Oh, I'm here.
Hello.
Hello.
Aw.
Hello. Okay.
My laptop's on a slant. What? The stack of
Someday you're gonna get an
a thing.
actual stand. Wait, okay, who plays guitar? Do you guys play guitar?
That's a good question. It's my guitar. I like used to play like a little bit. I taught myself just to play chords so I could sing. But very, very recently, um, my husband admitted he's wanted to play his whole life and he just never felt like he could pick it up. Like he just had this thing about it, like as if it's like you know how we are about writing, and it takes
Yeah.
a
Yeah, yeah.
long time to give ourselves permission to try. So yeah, he's learning. He's picked it back up. I've had it just sitting in the cupboard for years. I've hardly touched it. But yeah, he's picked it up and he's teaching it. He's like a genius. Like of all the people to be like afraid of teaching himself, he's like picking shit up immediately. And I'm just like, you little brat, but I'm so thrilled that like he's like pushed through that. You know, there's that thing of like feeling like you have to be good at something straight away. He had that
Yes.
bad, like people are just naturally gifted. And I was like, bitch, look at what I'm doing. I was like, if you believe in me as a writer at all, I was like, that's a crock of shit. It just takes
Yeah.
work. I was like, just pick it up every day, teach yourself a little bit. And yeah, so yeah, anyway,
He gives off vibes of just being able to pick up something and is gonna kill it.
it's
You know what I
disgusting.
mean? Yes. He gives off those vibes. Like when I saw the camera footage, the techniques, I was like, I know it. This fucker can play guitar. I thought in my head, I know. I know we can do it.
Absolutely. He's one of those people like he could do anything that he puts his mind to. But yeah. So yeah, new chapter, new guitar lessons, and our darling Robin is here.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! I am recording. I
You
see that in the
are.
light of this room, my green is extra fluorescent today.
It is. It's a cool color.
Hello, darling.
Oh, your hair looks beautiful.
I was just saying in this light,
Wow.
it's like I had to turn the light on because it's gotten dark outside. It's ultraviolet in this light, but
Yeah, looks good.
It
get
Oh my
my
does.
mullet
goodness.
cut back out. I was missing it.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, it looks good. Did you have to bleach it a little bit to
Yeah.
get it that light? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks good. It looks
Thank
great.
you.
Robin, we're happy to have you. How are you feeling? You've been unwell for a little bit
Oh
now. How are you?
my gosh, I was wiped out. I was like, I don't know who that person was last week.
Yeah.
But I was out. Wow, for a long time
Oh,
too. I'm feeling
Yeah.
so much better now. But yeah.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
it's
are you
crazy
guys?
how like you 1 week of being ill just like throws everything off too. Like, are
Oh
you
my
catching up
God.
on just life right now?
Yes, catching up on life, trying to catch up on like what I thought writing goals. I thought I had writing goals. They went out the window last week. Most things didn't make sense last week anyway, so it was probably good not to be writing. But yeah, I mostly my naps were disrupted by the guilt of not writing. It's like I can't even function. There's no way I could write, but there I
The
was.
non-writing guilt is real though. Like,
It is.
I don't know. I don't know if it was just when you first start writing, the advice you always get is like write every day, write every day. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it gets like ingrained in us where we're like, "Oh, I have to be doing something. I have to be writing. Even if I'm
Right?
like on my deathbed, I must write."
And I'm
Yeah.
like one of those people who needs like a really solid break between projects because I'm like completely wiped of all creativity in after a project. And so this past year I basically wrote back to back and had nothing released and I felt a lot of frustration because people were like, "Where's your book? Where's your next book?" And I was like, "I promise you I worked on like 5 things this year, but none of it was released and that just felt terrible." And I
That's
was
like,
like, I don't know what to do about that.
yeah, it's one of the hardest things about this industry, like that I'm finding that you pour all this work into something and then it's just like, well, now I'll just pretend to act like a regular person again. And there's not like the usual, like, if you finish uni and you graduate and there's like the big party or like, you don't have that immediately after. It's like a slow burn, a perpetual slow burn. And then out of nowhere, it's like, bam, something's happening.
Right? Oh my
So
goodness,
true.
that's so
Yeah,
true.
it is. Yeah, we need to start celebrating ourselves more and like every win, all the wins. Every time you hit
All
the
the
end,
wins.
celebrate it. We'll get to the
Yeah, I'm
half.
not doing that enough with my own writing. Like there's the little celebrations in between stuff where I'm like, oh, like look at my book, it's doing a thing right now. And I
Mm.
celebrate those. And then I kind of just forget to celebrate the milestones of writing itself. Like the actual journey of writing itself is rewarding and you forget that when other things are happening too, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, I need to get back to that.
Yes, more celebrations in 2025. Amen to
Gotcha.
that. Well, Robin, now that we're already recording, we've already started the
Yeah,
show.
we have.
Welcome. We went
Hey,
right in.
I think
Welcome.
I didn't say anything embarrassing.
Yeah. We can always cut. Melanie can always
I can
cut
always
in.
cut out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Um, we've done that plenty of time. Melanie, dear Melanie is very great at editing.
That's
Mostly just us like silent cackling, I feel like is the main edits.
No, I mostly leave the cackling in now. It's if we like, I mostly trim out like if there was like a long pause, just so the listener doesn't think the episode died out, or if one of us just has like one of those moments where the words just don't come, you know? And then I think we've
yeah.
both gotten good at like repeating what we just said, knowing I'm gonna just cut the bad one.
Oh, that's so great. Listen, you have my permission if I say something really stupid to
Yeah.
take a sock puppet and pretend to be me. It's fine. Trust me.
I would love that. I think that would be so fun. Melanie, work on your sock puppet skills.
I can't remember when it was, but there was one episode when I don't know if the audio glitched or whatever, but there's been a couple times where I've had to add in audio. So I'm just like sat there in front of the laptop trying to catch the exact part and be like, hello. But it doesn't ever match up in the same voice. Somehow I can never capture. So I have to like try hype myself up to get into pot and I'll be like, well, Angela, it takes me so many cuts when that's my nightmare when I have to do that because like it's so hard to do.
It
Oh my gosh.
is. It's really hard.
Ah.
Bless you. Bless you. You are amazing. We appreciate it. Well, Robin, you are amazing as well.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
I know our listeners are going to love you as much as we love you. Do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Robin Alvarez. I'm a usually YA fantasy author, but I've dabbled in a couple other genres and ages this past year, which was really cool. I'm Filipino American and half white. So I have always existed in between spaces, and most of my characters experience the in between spaces. And I think that's important because I have a couple of kids who are triracial, and so they're just going to grow up in spaces where they are not really going to see themselves in books. And so even my own experience is not going to quite be their experience. Um, I live in a desert because I've almost drowned quite a few times. And so that's fun. There's still places to drown here, by the way. And I've been writing for a really long time. Like I counted it up in preparation for this podcast, and I was like, dang, it's been 17 years. It's been a long time. So yeah.
Thing.
17
Okay,
is
I
amazing.
it is. I don't know if I want to go to asking about the drowning
Yes,
or asking about
please.
writing, but I feel like Melanie was going to go there anyway. Are you okay to share? Like, can you tell us the
Yes.
backstory?
Yes, I can tell you about all the drownings if you want. Is that where I'm
Please.
starting?
I
Yeah.
I
Okay.
need to
So
know. I'm so glad you're okay, first of all. But yes, I'm also like, how did this happen?
Yeah, okay, so my first one that I remember, I was 5. I'm pretty sure I was 5. And I thought that I could follow the dads out to the deep end of the pool if I could just hit the bottom of the pool with my feet and come up for air. I think that that's a very logical thing to think. It didn't work out because I didn't know physics. So eventually I started drowning. I do remember drowning, and then I remember someone yelling, "Oh my God, she's drowning," which was my auntie. And then suddenly I'm out of the pool and on a lawn chair. So there was a blackout moment, but no like need for CPR, I don't think. Another drowning happened, and I'm trying to remember which one happened first. I'm pretty sure it was because I actually happened to be on the swim team and was a lifeguard. So I can swim. I can. I was in lessons my whole life. But the second, we'll say the second one was a lifeguard training accident that went wrong. We were practicing how to push someone off of you if the drowner is panicking, right?
Mm.
And my person was my manager, but she was wearing a watch and my hair got stuck in the watch. And so my weight alone, even though I'm beneath her, was pulling her down. And meanwhile, she's trying to yank this thing off. And so she's pushing me down. Neither one of us could breathe. We both make it out of the pool, but it was just a training accident gone wrong. And we were choking up tons of water. We couldn't even give each other the appropriate like measures to get the water out. We just kind of had to cough it up because it was that bad. And then the third one is actually recounted in this book, When Oceans Rise. I had a professor ask me to write about a time I almost died, and I had gone surfing during hurricane weather. I've always lived near beaches until recently, and I got pulled under by a tide, and at that point in my life, I was really struggling with like a lot of things, including do I really want to live? And so it was really a very terrifying moment, and it did decide that yes, I did want to live. I did want to make it through that. And I was able to get myself back to shore after really long struggle. And my board, I still have that board. It did not get destroyed by like the jetties or anything. It is a
Wow.
solid board. Yeah. So those are my drowning accidents. There could be more, but those are the big three.
Damn. Thank you for sharing that with us. I feel a little bit emotional about the last story, I'm not gonna lie. Um,
Yeah, that one is so much sadder than people think, though, because I had a professor go, "Why did you go out there?" And I was like, "I'm 17." Like, 17-year-olds do reckless things all the time. And she was like, "No, but why
mm,
did you really go out there?" And I was like, "Well, I was in an abusive relationship and I didn't feel close to anybody. And I kind of wondered who would miss me."
mm,
And so I was just kind of battling a lot of things out there. And that's what came out. And then eventually I decided, that should probably be a novel, but it was like the novel I didn't want to ever write. It was that was my 6th book at that point. And it happened to be the one that sold. I think because for the first time in my life, I was like saying something really honest about myself
mm,
that I just had kind of held back in all previous works. And so from then on, I kind of realized I should probably be saying more honest things, even if it's scary things or things that make me like really sad, because apparently that's what that's what resonates, right? So sometimes you got to dig into those scary things. So
Yes. Well, and I mean, it's true. It resonates because at the end of the day, that's how we're all feeling. We all have these like honest, raw, terrible, like all of the thoughts, all of the emotions. And so, like, that's why
yeah,
we love books because we want to explore them and see them through
mm.
characters' eyes, through a safe eyes. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Through story.
and just kind of know they're not
Gosh.
alone.
Mm,
Yes. My gosh. Yeah.
yeah.
How, I mean, like Melanie was saying, like you feel a little emotional thinking about that, where you're like, you could have given up, but you decided, no, like it's worth fighting for. And you
Yeah.
had to literally fight to survive, which is absolutely wild. My gosh. So happy. So happy you're
Mm,
here. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah.
but so you mentioned you have been writing for 17 years.
Yeah.
Can you tell us like a little bit, and we'll get back into the fun questions that we always like to ask, but I do want to know like what made you start writing? Like where was that beginning for you?
I think I've gone back and forth a couple of times on when it actually started, because I know when I hard started writing, where I was like, this is what I'm doing. But I think that it was always kind of there in my childhood. I remember I have this very distinct memory of I was always an artist. I was always drawing, so I always had a sketchbook. And I remember telling my mom one day, sitting in the rainy car, the rain was not in the car. Um, it was raining. And I told her I was going to write a whole book all throughout this sketchbook, and I wrote a paragraph, and that's as far as I got. And I was like, this is hard. I'm gonna go back to drawing. The actual time where I was like, oh, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. I had two like major influences, two series that were really big in the world that had come to an end and then started, that really like influenced me to want to recreate that feeling that I felt when I read them, because sometimes you get like you hit that really good book and you're like, nothing's ever going to feel as good again, and that's not true. But
Mm.
it's hard to wait for the next thing that's going to feel that good. And I was like, no, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to start. And it was like 6 months before I was graduating from college, and definitely realizing that like even though I was good at this degree, that didn't mean that I wanted to do that for the rest of my life, which is a horrible thing to find out 6 months before you're about to graduate, because you've just paid for this expensive like
Mm-hmm.
education. But I never did stop writing. Like that's the thing. I just knew that I could keep writing. I would write at night. I would write when I was done working all these jobs. I've always worked like two jobs at least. Like there's always something. It's always either been one full job and contract work plus writing, but somehow writing always prevails, which is so great. But yeah, it's just been a long time. Like my journey is probably not a journey people would envy because of how long it's taken, and I'm still not at like the big goal. Like my dream is to be like trad pub, and I'm still not there, and it breaks my heart. But I also kind of just got to this place, and I have another sad reason I got to this place. But I had a friend who got cancer, and there was all these conversations, hanging out, growing up as an adult with her, going, yeah, when I get that book deal, when I become an author, when I this and that. And then suddenly I'm staring down the barrel of, I may not have this friend again. And why am I waiting? Why am I waiting when there are like other ways and other avenues that I could take? And I had this offer from a small pub because I decided I was going to start
Mm.
submitting everywhere, right? And I took that offer because I knew I could make it as big and as great as I could make it, right? Like no matter what size it was, I was going to make it the biggest deal, and that really worked out for me. And my friend did pass away though, so she did get to see me get that deal, which was so wonderful. She didn't get to come on this journey with me in the physical world. I think she's still around all the time. She always little huntings of her in a not scary way because she knows better. But yeah. I'm like, don't scare me.
Yeah, a good friend would know your limit.
Right? Don't appear in the middle of the night, friend. But
No writing on
well,
the windows or anything like that. Yeah.
right, don't do
Yeah.
that. But it was kind of most of the things that I've ever done, the things that I've truly loved doing, have been conventional adjacent. And so I kind of think of my journey a little bit like that, where it's been conventional adjacent. And I've gotten to do things that kind of exist in both spaces, but I do still wish for the dream. And I have been here a long time.
Mm.
So yeah,
Well,
hopefully it happens. But if it doesn't, I think I'm going to be just fine.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, First of all, you're such an amazing person. Every time you speak, I'm a little more in awe of you. And
You're so sweet.
that's just facts. Second of all, it might not be a journey that people would envy, but I can certainly tell you it's a journey that I admire and like
Oh,
that inspires me because yeah, the reality is it's a really unpredictable industry and like I myself have been on a fairly long journey and yes, sometimes it can be tough finding that courage to
yeah.
pull through, but like those are my favorite people and I'm really convinced that those are the people who are going to be there in 10 years' time because they've had to fight to be here for so long and they know what that looks like and they just keep doing it even you've done it through all these like hard points and you're on the podcast now, and we are manifesting that some good things come into your publishing life with ease and like all the abundance. I'm just like channeling Angela's witchy powers right now to manifest
I love
all the
it.
things. She's a very powerful witch, so.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love a good manifestation.
Yeah.
Yes. No, honestly, yes, we on this show and in the DMs, we are always manifesting, especially
Yeah.
like for there's just certain souls that you come across that you're like, God, I just want them to
Hmm.
have the entire world. And
Yes.
obviously, Melanie's one of those souls for me. You're one of those souls. There's just certain people where you're like, they like universe, you better listen or I'm coming for you. Yeah,
That's so
it's just
funny.
it's your time. We're manifesting so hard for both of you. And what I do love though is like and I feel like this now we're seeing it so much more is that there are so many different avenues, so many different ways to get your words out there, your books
Yeah.
published. Like even probably 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, self-pub, indie pub were weren't really like kind of like talked about in the same space as trad
Hmm.
pub, but now
Yeah.
because of social media, because we see so many indie pub and self pub authors just killing it,
Oh my gosh,
it's
they
here. It's
are.
like it's equal playing. Can you hear me now, Melanie?
I can, absolutely. It just
Okay.
muted out for a second.
Oh, well, I was saying really great things. It's a shame you missed out. Can you hear me now, Mel?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know. I think it was just a freak. The internet just dropped out for a
Yeah.
second, maybe.
It happens to me. It happens to me.
Oh
I'm too
man.
powerful of a witch.
You are. You
But
mess up the
yeah.
electrics.
Yeah, I did.
No, but you're
But what I
right.
was saying, yes, I was right. Whatever I was saying, I was right. But there's so many amazing spaces now.
Mm,
Um, but have you've been doing this for a while, you've been in different spaces. Has there been anything that has surprised you just about publishing in
mm,
general?
How much networking can affect your journey?
mm,
Because I wrote for like, okay, so it's been 17 years, but I didn't get that first deal until 13 years in, right? But I was writing in secret. Like I wasn't telling people about the journey. I wasn't participating in writing spaces. I wasn't joining communities. And it was not until I started networking with people that my career pushed forward. You know what I mean? And I it's not that somebody can give you the deal. You know what I mean? It's not that. There's something about people just sharing knowledge, sharing information, just happening to say something like, "Oh, there's this event that's so cool. There's this, pitch fest that's so great." Like knowing those things, just being in some kind of know in the industry can
mm,
really like change the trajectory of your career, but you don't know it until you join. And you also don't really have like the support that you need until you join, right? To know that other people are struggling too, that they've written as many books and are just as sad, that sometimes the deal comes fast for people and sometimes it comes slow, but everyone still struggles no matter what.
mm,
Like you just don't get to see any of that if you don't like participate. But once you participate and you're really in, it's
mm.
like you're locked into something that's just not going to let you go, which is so great. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you get really close to wanting to let go. Like, wouldn't it be
Hmm.
easy since no one knew? But when people know, I mean, I don't know, it kind of just solidifies everything. So I don't know if that really answers the question, but that's the answer I'm giving.
I love that answer so much, and I love the nuance you've brought to it because people often say, "Oh, networking, networking, networking," and it's not a simple matter of like getting to know or rub shoulders with like somebody who's doing well. I think that's a big mistake that
Right?
a lot of people make. Like, if I can just breathe the same air as such and such, maybe the book gods will smile on me. And it's just like, but what you've said is like the real guts of it. There's something about being in an actual community that holds you accountable, that puts you in the right spaces, that like teaches you and deconstructs your mind out of like God knows what
Yeah.
was like put in there from like early days or whatever. Like I'm not the same person I was when I walked into this career, you know? And those nuances are like the it's everything. And it's like if you can, I think just having that desire and openness to open yourself up and change and grow as a person, all those little deep nuanced parts of big little parts of networking is what makes it. It's not just some mythical thing either, which is what
Yeah.
makes it both the easiest and hardest thing. Because even with that, it's got to be genuine. It's got to be like a real
Yeah.
connection, or it's not going to matter. Like,
That is so true. That is so true. I loved it when you said deconstruct. I think that that was like really, that hits the nail for me. It's really
mm,
Yes. Well, and on when I want to say one of the first times, not really, but like that I really and truly saw you on TikTok.
mm.
You created, oh, who knows? I can't remember, but one of the times that's really standing out in my brain is when you created the what is that? Like the filter or the
cool. Yeah, it was a
wi-
like which book will save my life or something like that.
yes, and you had a bunch of debuts in
Yeah.
that filter, and I thought, oh my God, like it just shows who you are because it's not just about you boosting your book. You were adding all
No.
of these different debuts into it. You were networking. You were being that person.
Mm.
And like I still to this day remember that. And sometimes I'll get random people finding me from that, like old
Wow.
Yeah.
posts. And I love it. It's so, so awesome. That was a
Yeah.
really, really fun thing that you created. But I
Thank
do want to
you.
touch on your book,
Mm.
When Oceans Rise. Can you tell our listeners what it's about? Because the cover is killer.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Yeah, it's like a Little Mermaid retelling, but with no mermaids. So people are like, "What do you mean?" So a girl's in an abusive relationship, and she gives her voice up to a sea witch to escape, and the sea witch gives her a new life in exchange for her voice, which I think I just said, and then uses her voice to unleash monsters on the world, specifically monsters you would find in Filipino culture. And so she's got to get her voice back to save the world. It's contemporary fantasy. So it's actually set in Corpus Christi, which is where I spent my teen years. And so it's like an alternate timeline Corpus Christi where there are monsters roaming around. It's fun, but it's also really sad. And so I always tell people like mind the triggers, and if you cannot read the story, don't read the story because
Mm.
it really did come from this, experience of being abused when I was 17 by a boyfriend. And that's not easy to consume. I didn't even want to write this. It was over a decade later, right? I didn't want to write this story. Did I like it now? But it's hard, and so I understand when it's hard, and I don't want people to read it if it's going to hurt them.
Mm.
Um,
Mm. I was gonna say, did you find it difficult, like writing it, like digging back in, even
yeah,
though like it was a time away, but like still, how was that for you if you're
yeah,
comfortable talking about it?
sure. I was mad at my mom again.
Mhm.
We didn't get along back then, and that was one of the things is that when you're in that kind of abusive relationship, it doesn't start out physical, right? Like
Mm.
it starts out as mental warfare, and there were ways that this person kind of pulled me away from my family, little wedges that like saying things like I'm the only person who understands you. Nobody should be the only person. Like it sounds romantic and it's not, right?
Mm.
Nobody should be that only person. So there are these like little things. And so going back was hard because it was this summer. I just had my daughter. I was already full of emotions. I was like, might as well. This is the summer to do it, to have all the emotions. And I will tell you though that as hard as it was to look back, um, looking back helped me realize that not everything was my fault, and I had blamed myself in a lot of ways, in ways that are really harmful to someone who's been in a relationship like that, where you're blaming yourself, victim blaming,
Mm.
and and it forced me to like look up stuff about TV and to realize no, this wasn't my fault. This is something that happened, something that I'm still dealing with, that I'm still working through. And so it was cathartic in a lot of ways. I will tell you that the way it ended, I thought was very satisfying. And I continually get messages and DMs going, how? When they get to the end of the book, which makes me think that I should probably write the next one. But it's such a hard space to return to like relive the words and the scenes and stuff, that I've got to be in a really good spot before I jump back into a sequel. Though I do have ideas. I
Mm.
got
Oh,
ideas.
okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay, I want to touch on what you've got going on next, because I see we're like down to
I
6 minutes
know.
somehow. But I want to
I'm
touch
so
on,
chatty.
yeah, yeah,
I
which is
love
great. I
it.
love it. But I want to touch on what you have next going on. I don't know what you feel comfortable talking about, but I do want
Yeah.
to tell the listeners that I read probably the first, I don't know, third, a sampling, first act of something that you have written, and it's so good. I've been waiting, like salivating. So I don't know what you want to talk about, what you are up to next.
Yeah.
Like, break it down. What's going on? What's the next project for
I've
Robin?
got a couple things going on because I think ideally when I look at my career, I would like to be both in the trad pub space and the indie space. And I have an agent and I'm on submission for a YA horror that I feel like is the best thing I've ever written. Like I really feel it in my guts. I'm like, if this doesn't sell, then I don't understand the world at all because it feels right. Like I'm just waiting for that person to love it too.
Mm.
Um, right? But I'm
Manifesting.
also right. I'm also writing, and this is the one that Angela's read. And I've been writing this for over a decade. A YA paranormal romance that is very Twilight vibes. I for my neurodivergent friends, I always say Twilight but pink, and somehow they understand what that means, and they're like, "Oh, yeah."
Perfect.
That's what I'm doing. And it's a banshee mythology, so it kind of taps into like my dad's side of the family because my grandmother was so proud of being Irish. And so it kind of just helps me feel a little connected to her. She died when I was really young. It's been a lot of death. I don't handle death that well. And so to write about a character who's literally a beacon of death has been pretty interesting. And recently that book had become way too long. So I had to break it apart, which is why I threw it at Angela because I was like, I need somebody to tell me that this is happening and it looks good because I have no clue what it looks like right now. It's pieces. I feel like Dr. Frankenstein. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so it was really helpful that you read it. But you did read, I write in 4-act structure. So you've
Okay.
read 25%. So just be prepared that I'm going to be sending 3 more books at you. So you
I'm
don't get the
ready.
third one and you're like, why is this story not finished? It's
Yeah.
because I write in 4-act structure.
Well, I'm here to make sure it happens.
Yes.
But it's gonna have to happen because
It
it's
has
it's
to.
coming.
It has to
So
happen. I'm trying to get it out for September 9th. That is my goal, September 9th.
So, listeners, if September comes around and we're not seeing something, I need you to get in the DMs, in Robin's DMs, and force that.
You
Unless
guys
there,
yell.
unless she can't, and that's fine, we'll understand. But
No,
what we'll do.
y'all will have to yell at me. Like
Yeah. I also just want to can we take a small moment to celebrate our uniting to write our slutty anthology together. For our listeners who don't know, Robin is our publishing house mama banner that we are under. So we're so excited to join together for that project with you. And yeah, I can't wait.
Me either. It
Yeah.
sounds like the funnest thing we could possibly be doing this year.
I
Yeah.
agree. And when you were talking
Yeah.
about like trying to get that pure writing joy back, honestly, I've had it writing this piece. It just feels
Yeah.
like just chaotic fun. But I did want to, with 2 minutes left, I want to ask you our favorite question, which is looking back on everything you've done so far, is there anything you wish you could tell your younger self?
Besides to start telling people about your dreams, because that's just given.
Mm.
I think I wish I could hug my younger self because she was so sad. She was so
Mm.
sad. And I'm still a little weepy person. I just tend to be. But there's so much joy now. And I wish that I could go back and hug her and just be like, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna
Mhm.
be so great. You just have to get through this. You know, you just have to get
Mm.
through these little things that suck. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that
Yeah.
so much.
No, I know. Yeah, like I feel a little weepy just
Yeah.
thinking about it because I feel like so many of us can
Mm.
relate of just like
Yeah.
sometimes we just our little baby selves just needed that little hug and that little like you're gonna be fine. And actually it's gonna be
Exactly.
great.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna find the sweet, sensitive community who's just like you, and you're not gonna feel isolated anymore. I think like
Yeah.
that's what's so beautiful about this community that we do, yeah, I think we see each other like actually, and that I could have never predicted in my wildest dreams.
It's because we're artists. When it comes
Yeah.
down to it, we've got those souls.
That's it right there. And I think that's again like when you were talking about just telling your dreams, like just speaking it out and letting people know what you're doing, because then you'll find those other people that are there doing it too.
Mm,
Yeah.
And and you have and like we're all here together doing this really hard thing, but
mm.
Yes.
finding the joy and the beauty in it and in this world. So thank you. Thank you for doing the hard things. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I can't wait to share this episode. It's gonna cut us off any second. I do not know where our time went, but yeah, thank you for just sharing your soul and your truth. And yeah, you're a really beautiful, inspiring person. So know that we are
Oh,
cheering our guts out for you. So excited to fucking work together. I'm just, yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
I'm cheering my guts out for you guys too.
Manifesting.
We're
It
manifesting.
was a
Send your
big
witchiness.
yes. I'm feeling the witchy energy in the air.